Mechanics expose their biggest secret. These three cars refuse to die. Seriously, one of them has owners reporting over 500,000 miles, and the engine still purrs like it just rolled off the factory floor. If you're tired of throwing money at repairs, stick around, because number one on this list, it's almost unfair to the competition.
Alright, let's kick things off with a car that honestly needs no introduction. But if it did, its resume would be longer than most people's Netflix watch history. We're talking about the Toyota Camry. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. The Camry? That's my grandma's car. And you know what? Your grandma is a genius. While everyone else is out here financing flashy SUVs and crying at the mechanic every 3 months, Grandma is cruising past 300,000 miles, sipping tea and waving at the tow trucks. So maybe, just maybe, we should all start listening to Grandma. Here's the thing about the Camry that most people completely overlook. This isn't just a car that sells well, it is the best-selling sedan in North America for over 20 years running. Let that sink in. Over 20 years on top. That's not marketing, that's not luck. That is millions of real people spending their hard-earned money and coming back for more. You don't get that kind of loyalty by being average. You get it by being bulletproof. So what makes the Camry so ridiculously reliable? Let's start under the hood. Toyota engineers this car with what I like to call boring perfection. They're not chasing horsepower wars or turbocharged hype. They use naturally aspirated engines, specifically the 2.5-liter four-cylinder and the 3.5-liter V6, that have been refined over generations. No turbo lag, no extra complexity, no fancy parts waiting to fail at 80,000 miles, just clean, efficient combustion that does exactly what it's supposed to do. Get you from point A to point B without drama. And honestly, in a world full of drama, that's kind of refreshing. The transmission is another area where Toyota plays it smart. The Camry uses an 8-speed automatic that's been engineered with the same philosophy, simplicity and durability. It shifts smooth, it doesn't hunt for gears, and most importantly, it doesn't grenade itself at 100,000 miles like some competitors we won't name today, but you know who you are. Now, let's talk about something that really separates the Camry from the pack: cost of ownership. See, buying a car is one thing. Keeping it alive is a whole different story, and this is where the Camry becomes your wallet's best friend. Routine maintenance is cheap. Parts are everywhere, literally everywhere. You could be in a small town in the middle of nowhere, and I guarantee there's a shop that has Camry parts on the shelf. Try doing that with a European sedan. You'll be waiting 2 weeks for a part that costs 3 times as much and still needs a specialist to install it. Meanwhile, the Camry guy is already back on the road eating a drive-through burger like nothing happened. And here's a stat that should make every car buyer pay attention. The Toyota Camry consistently ranks in the top 3 for resale value in its segment. That means when you eventually decide to sell it, and I say eventually because this thing will outlast most relationships, you're actually getting real money back. It's one of the very few cars where you're not just spending money, you're kind of investing it. Your financial advisor could never. But, and this is important, so listen up, no car is perfect. And if you're out there shopping for a used Camry, there are a few things you absolutely need to watch out for. First, the 2007 to 2009 model years. Those had a known issue with excessive oil consumption on the four-cylinder. We're talking burning through a quart every 1,000 miles in some cases. Toyota actually extended warranties and issued technical service bulletins for it. But if you're buying used, make sure that issue has been addressed. Check the service records. If the seller doesn't have records, walk away. There are a million Camrys out there. You don't need to gamble on one. Second thing to watch, if you're looking at the 2012 to 2014 range, keep an eye on the dashboard. Sounds weird, right? But those model years had a problem with the dashboard material warping and becoming sticky in hot climates. It's not a mechanical issue, but it's annoying, it looks terrible, and it can cost a surprising amount to fix. So check the dash condition before you commit. Third, and this applies to pretty much any used Camry, always check for signs of transmission fluid that's never been changed. A lot of people believe the myth that Toyota transmissions have lifetime fluid. There's no such thing. That fluid breaks down over time, and if the previous owner never serviced it, you could be inheriting a ticking bomb. A simple fluid color check can save you thousands. Fresh fluid is bright red. Dark brown or black, that's a red flag. Or, I guess technically, a black flag. And now, here's the beautiful part about everything I just told you. Even with those few things to watch out for, the Camry's problem list is laughably short compared to almost anything else in its class. We're talking about a car where the biggest complaint from most owners is that it's boring. And let me tell you something. Boring is beautiful when your car starts every single morning without hesitation, when your check engine light stays off for years, and when your mechanic barely knows your name because you never visit. The Toyota Camry isn't trying to impress anyone at a car meet. It's not going to turn heads at a stoplight, but it will still be running when every head turner in the parking lot has already been sent to the junkyard. And that, my friends, is why it earned its spot on this list.
Now, if the Camry is the reliable friend who always shows up on time and never causes problems, the next car on this list is the one who does all of that, but also shows up looking like $1,000,000. Because our number 2 pick is a car that most people completely underestimate, and honestly, that's a crime. We're talking about the Mazda CX-30. And before you scroll away thinking a Mazda on a reliability list, stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you might just change the way you look at this brand forever. See, there's a silent revolution happening in the car world that nobody's talking about. While everyone is busy arguing about Toyota versus Honda, Mazda quietly walked into the room, put on a tailored suit, and started outperforming cars that cost twice as much. And the CX-30 is the perfect proof of that. This is a subcompact crossover that drives like a luxury car, looks like it was designed in Milan, and has the reliability record of a Japanese tank. I mean, that combination shouldn't even be legal. Let's get into what makes this thing tick, literally. The CX-30 runs on Mazda's skyactiv G 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Now that name sounds fancy, but the philosophy behind it is beautifully simple. Mazda engineers obsessed over one thing: combustion efficiency. They push the compression ratio to 13:1, which is insanely high for a gasoline engine. What that means for you is more power from less fuel with fewer mechanical compromises. No turbocharger to fail, no direct injection carbon buildup nightmares, just a clean-burning, high-compression engine that sips fuel and keeps going. It's the kind of engineering that doesn't scream at you from a spec sheet, but whispers to you at 200,000 miles when everything still works perfectly. And here's something that genuinely surprised me when I first dug into the data. Mazda, little Mazda, the company everyone thinks is a budget brand, has been consistently ranked at or near the top of Consumer Reports' reliability rankings for the past several years. We're talking ahead of Toyota in some years, ahead of Lexus, ahead of everybody. And the CX-30 is one of the main reasons why. Owner complaint rates on this vehicle are absurdly low. We're talking about a car that people buy, drive daily, and simply forget to complain about because there's nothing to complain about. That's the dream, right? You don't want an exciting relationship with your car's service department. You want them to forget you exist. Now let's talk about something that nobody else in this price range is offering: the way this car feels. Mazda is the only mainstream brand that genuinely cares about driving dynamics the way a premium brand does. The CX-30 has a suspension tuned for comfort without feeling like a boat. The steering has real feedback. You actually feel the road through your hands. And the interior? Oh, the interior. Soft touch materials everywhere. A minimalist design that looks like it belongs in something with a German badge. Honestly, if you blindfolded someone, sat them inside a CX-30 and told them it was a $35,000 luxury crossover, they'd believe you. Then you tell them the real price and they'd think you were lying. It's like finding a designer suit at a thrift store, except the suit is brand new and the thrift store has a full warranty. The transmission is another win here. Mazda uses a 6-speed automatic in the standard models. And I know what you're thinking, only 6 speeds in 2024? But here's the thing. Mazda specifically chose a traditional torque converter automatic over a CVT because they prioritize durability and driving feel over squeezing out 1 extra mile per gallon on a spec sheet. CVTs are cheaper to build and slightly more efficient on paper, but they have a history of long-term reliability issues across the industry. Mazda said no thanks. They'd rather give you a transmission that shifts with purpose and lasts the life of the car, and I respect that decision more than I can put into words. But okay, let's keep it real, because I'm not here to sell you a Mazda. I'm here to give you the full picture, and there are a few things you need to know before you pull the trigger on a CX-30. First, the rear seat space. If you're tall or if you regularly carry tall passengers, the back seat is going to feel tight. This is a subcompact crossover, and Mazda prioritized design proportions over maximum interior volume. It's not unusable, but it's not where you want to spend a 4-hour road trip if you're over 6 feet. Test it before you buy it. Second, road noise. The CX-30 does a great job insulating against engine noise, but highway wind and tire noise can creep in more than you'd expect from a car that feels this premium everywhere else. It's not a deal breaker, but if you're cross-shopping against something with thicker glass and better sound deadening, you'll notice the difference. A good tire upgrade actually solves most of this, so keep that in mind. Third, and this is a buying tip that could save you real money, if you're going used, check the infotainment system carefully. Early model year CX-30s had some reports of the screen lagging, freezing, or the Bluetooth disconnecting randomly. Mazda addressed this with software updates, so make sure the system has been updated to the latest firmware. It takes 5 minutes at a dealer and costs nothing, but if the previous owner never did it, you'll think the whole system is broken when it really just needs a simple update. And one more thing, watch the paint. Mazda's Soul Red Crystal and Machine Gray are two of the most gorgeous colors in the entire automotive industry. I mean it, no car under $30,000 should look that good. But Mazda paint is notoriously thin. Chips and scratches show up faster than you'd like, especially on the front bumper and hood. If you're buying new, seriously consider paint protection film on the front end. If you're buying used, inspect the paint condition closely, because touch-ups on those specialty colors are not cheap, and matching them perfectly is nearly impossible. Here's what it all comes down to. The Mazda CX-30 is the car for people who want reliability without giving up their soul. It's for the person who refuses to accept that practical has to mean boring. You get the build quality, you get the engineering discipline, you get the looks, and you get a car that mechanics rarely see. Not because it's rare, but because it almost never breaks. Mazda built something special here, and the fact that most people still don't know about it is honestly your biggest advantage. Because while everyone else is fighting over the same overcrowded segment, the CX-30 is sitting right there, waiting for someone smart enough to notice.
All right, we've talked about the sedan king that refuses to quit and the crossover that nobody saw coming. But now we're getting to the one that I saved for last on purpose, because this car didn't just earn a spot on the list, it earned the throne. And if you've been watching this far, trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Our #1 most reliable car with an engine that lasts forever is the Honda Civic. And honestly, if you're surprised, you haven't been paying attention for the last 50 years. Let me paint a picture for you. It's 1972. Honda introduces the Civic to the world, a tiny, humble little hatchback that nobody took seriously. Fast forward to today, and there are Civics from the early 90s still running on original engines with over 400,000 miles on the clock. Not restored, not babied in a garage, driven. Daily driven, through winters, through summers, through college students who didn't know what an oil change was until 60,000 miles too late, and the Civic survived all of it. That's not reliability, that's immortality. If cockroaches and Nokia phones had a baby, it would be a Honda Civic. So what's the secret? What makes this car outlive everything around it? It starts with Honda's engineering DNA. See, Honda was an engine company before it was a car company. So Ichiro Honda, the founder himself, was obsessed with engines. That obsession trickled down into every single generation of the Civic. The current model runs on a 2.0-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder or a 1.5-liter turbocharged unit, depending on the trim, and both are marvels of modern engineering. The 2.0-liter is the purest choice. No turbo, no intercooler, nothing extra to go wrong. It delivers honest power, excellent fuel economy, and it will run forever on basic maintenance. The 1.5 turbo gives you that extra punch when you want it, and despite being a forced induction engine, Honda has refined it to the point where long-term durability is genuinely impressive. These aren't the fragile turbo engines of the past. Honda spent years perfecting the cooling system, the oiling system, and the turbo geometry to make sure this thing holds up over time. And the numbers back it up. Hundreds of thousands of these engines in the real world with minimal failure rates. But the engine is only part of the story. Honda CVT, and I know, I just praised Mazda for avoiding a CVT, but hear me out. Honda CVT is not the same animal as everybody else's. Honda engineers their continuously variable transmission with a steel belt and actual physical gear sets that engage at certain speeds. That means you get the efficiency of a CVT with a mechanical backup that reduces wear on the system. It's clever, it's very Honda, and the result is a transmission that has proven itself over millions of units worldwide without the typical CVT horror stories that haunt other manufacturers. Could Honda have used a traditional automatic? Sure, but they found a way to make the CVT work properly, and that's the difference between engineering to a price point and engineering to a standard. Now, let's talk about why mechanics both love and hate the Civic. They love it because when it does come in for service, everything is straightforward. The engine bay is clean, well laid out, and accessible. Parts cost next to nothing. A full brake job on a Civic costs less than an oil change on some European cars. And I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm really not. But here's why mechanics also kind of hate it. Civic owners don't come in often enough. This car is so reliable that people genuinely forget about maintenance. I've heard mechanics say they'll see a Civic roll in at 120,000 miles for its first real visit, and the owner says, it just started making a weird noise. Yeah, after 12 years of nothing. That's not a flaw in the car, that's a testament to how overbuilt Honda made it. But please, do me a favor, change your oil, check your brakes, love your Civic, and it will love you back for 500,000 miles. Now, real talk, because every car has its weak points, and if I didn't tell you about them, I wouldn't be doing my job. If you're shopping for a used Civic, here's what you need to have on your radar. The 2016 to 2018 models with the 1.5 turbo had a well-documented issue with fuel dilution in the oil. What that means is gasoline was seeping past the piston rings into the oil, especially in cold climates and short trip driving. You'd pull the dipstick and the oil level would actually be higher than when you filled it. And that's not bonus oil, that's gasoline destroying your lubrication. Honda issued a software update and extended warranties for affected vehicles, but if you're buying used in that range, absolutely check if the update was performed. Smell the oil on the dipstick. If it smells like fuel, walk away immediately. Second thing, the air conditioning compressor. This is a known weak spot across several Civic generations, particularly the 2006 to 2011 models. The compressor can fail, and when it does, it sends metal debris through the entire AC system, meaning you're not just replacing a compressor, you're flushing the whole system and replacing the condenser too. That repair bill can get ugly fast. So if you're looking at a used Civic in that age range, turn on the AC during your test drive. Listen for any clicking or grinding. Make sure it blows cold and stays cold. 5 minutes of testing can save you $1,000. Third, and this one's for the current generation buyers, keep an eye on the paint quality. Honda, much like Mazda, has gone with thinner paint in recent years, and owners are reporting chips and stone damage accumulating faster than expected, particularly on lighter colors. It's cosmetic, not mechanical, but if you care about keeping your Civic looking sharp for the long haul, budget for some front-end paint protection early on. Prevention is always cheaper than correction. Here's the bottom line on the Honda Civic. This is not just a car. This is a generational promise. Your parents probably drove one, you might be driving one right now, and there's a very real chance your kids will drive one too. It starts every morning, it asks almost nothing in return, it holds its value like few other cars in its class, and when the day finally comes that you sell it or trade it in, the next owner will put another 200,000 miles on it and tell the same story you did. That cycle has been repeating for over 50 years, and there's no sign of it stopping. The Honda Civic isn't just reliable, it's generational wealth disguised as a four-door sedan. And that's exactly why it's #1 on this list.
So there you have it. 3 cars, 3 engines that refuse to give up, and 3 real-world choices that'll save you money, stress, and those late-night breakdowns nobody wants. Now here's what I need from you. If this video helped you, if you learned something new, or if it just confirmed what you already knew, smash that like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps this channel reach more people who are tired of buying unreliable cars and wasting money. Drop a comment below and tell me, which one of these 3 would you pick? The Camry, the CX-30, or the Civic? I genuinely want to know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we've got a lot more content coming that you do not want to miss. I'll see you in the next one.